Tonight, I want to share with you something a little bit different. This is actually a PDF. It's a web form slash PDF that I created for a client of mine a few minutes ago. It's also what we're working on for launching mindfulmarketplace.com. And I know a lot of you are building directories and building authority sites with the ambition of selling back end services or creating high end offers that you use to monetize your community. That to me is the wisest, smartest, and most skillful strategy for building these kinds of sites. It's never selling featured listings as the primary monetization model. It is always having a big back end in mind. So essentially, this is an exercise that I stole from Airbnb. I think I heard the founder, one of the founders of Airbnb, describe this process a little bit on either Tim Ferriss's show or Reid Hoffman's podcast. I can't remember where, but it really, really struck me immediately. As soon as I listened to it, I, got somewhere where I could write down and take a whole bunch of notes. And it really has been something that I've not only incorporated into every sort of element of what I'm trying to do with my work, but also what I'm trying to do with my life. And I'm going to share a little bit more about that in a second. But it also shows me how often I fail in both of those endeavors. Certainly in life, and also certainly in a lot of the things that I offer to the world with my business. So let me give you a little bit more context, and then I'll just dive into what I share with this client tonight. I actually tried to rewrite some of this so I wouldn't divulge their details, although some of their details are still in the PDF because I'm just tired. It's almost midnight. But essentially, the Airbnb folks shared this process map that they kind of used to measure what would be a stellar user experience and what would be kind of a mediocre user experience and what would be a poor user experience. So, without going into the whole sort of, spiel, when they were first starting out, Airbnb would ask their their renters and the folks who were offering properties, like, what would a 10 experience be like? Like, what would showing up at a house and that being a 10 in your mind? Like, what would that feel like? What would it look like? What would you see? What would they have? What would the house look like? What would you do on that mini vacation? And I guess they asked the same thing of folks who are renting their properties as well. Like, what would a 10, overnight guest be or do or act like or show up in the world as? Like, what is that experience like? And then they would look at it, what a 6 would be, what a 4 would be, what a 1 would be. And it really helped to clarify, like, how much more is possible, right? Like, how much more can you offer people to really blow them away or exceed their expectations or give them a world-class experience that truly surprises and delights them, right? So I start to think about, like, how so much of what I do is like a 5 or a 6 or at best a 7, and that means, like, both in my work and in my life. Like, if I'm going to show up to something, like, why show up with a sense of reluctance or begrudging acceptance that I'm there? Why not, if I show up to something, show up as a 10, right? Be enthusiastic, be happy, be cheerful, be positive, be interested, be interesting, et cetera, et cetera. And in my business, more specifically, even knowing this, I still find that I very rarely get to the level that I feel like I'm really truly blowing people away. Even though I think a lot of what I'm sharing could and ought to be blowing people away, I still think I'm not careful enough in how I present the offers and opportunities or my knowledge or information or expertise in a way that truly just blows people over. So here is the exercise that I share with this client after all that kind of long preamble. All right, so they are building a directory, and their primary monetization strategy is to sell back-end offers, to have a high-end suite of services that they can offer this very lucrative niche that they're in. And these folks who they're targeting have a lot of money. And how can they just offer such incredible high-end exclusive offers that allow them to really make a small fortune if they choose, but at the same time really deliver this incredible value and user experience to the members who are taking advantage of this VIP, fully managed, exclusive listing opportunity. So here's the set of questions that I sent to them. So what kind of package could FA put together that would be so compelling, so persuasive, and so close to the actual need of the ideal B2B partner that they'd be crazy to say no? And I specified this during the pre-launch because they're relaunching their community now, or during a 90-day post-launch window. What would a 10 offer or package look like during pre-launch? Like, how would you create such an incredible 10 level experience for your members that they're like, wow, this is awesome. We want to participate. We want to join. We want to pay. Where do we sign up? Just let me give you my money experience, right? And then also, what would a mediocre invitation or offer look like to ask people to join this directory? What would a pretty good opportunity look like? Like what is the chasm or the space between what is exceptional versus what is just or what is ordinary? And then essentially I asked them to ask themselves, like, what would the cost be to your platform to implement only things that are going to blow folks away, only overwhelming offers that move, motivated, and excited your B2B partners to say yes? And then what would the cost be to offer like very mediocre Me Too offers predicated around commoditizing their community, by using the same competitor pricing, competitor packages, what other people are offering, et cetera, et cetera. All right. And I'm doing the same thing for our mindful marketplace community. This is a great reminder to me that as I approach my audience and say, hey, if you join us, this is what we're going to be giving you to be part of what we're building. Like, this is a movement that we're trying to really, build something great. And these are the variety of ways that we want to highlight you and showcase you, and we want to feature you across our platform. These are the things that we want to do for you that will transform your brand, your blog, your business, and your bank account by dint of coming aboard now, right? So how do you stack the value so high that people are like, I can't say no to this. Even if I really can't afford this, I ought not to say no to this because I can see it has such empirical and objective value to my need. It's also important, my needs. It's important to understand the niche and need. So what do the folks in your niche need, and make that an authentic, true statement, like not something that you offer that you want them to need, but what do they really need? In my community, the mindful marketplace community, there's a very similar need to this client's community. The people have shitty websites. They are high-end professionals, often very gifted in what they do, but their websites stink. Their branding stinks. They don't have opt-in forms. They don't have books for sale. They don't have courses they've created. They don't have like really great, clear content that communicates what they do, who they do it for, and how they work in the world, right? So all of these things I know can be incorporated into high-end offers. All right, so I'm not going to babble on too much longer, but I would encourage you to check this form out. I'm going to post it on this YouTube video. It's also going to go out to folks in my private community. And really all it does is help to challenge all of us to just excel in, to be exceptional. And not only to be exceptional, but to offer exceptional things to people that make them feel exceptional. Like, how can you make people feel so important that they want to invest in what it is that you've built? They want to invest in your community, in your ideas, and in your passion for what is yet to come.